So you're just starting out and you want to figure out how to create cash flow. Now, before I kick this off, I want to share with you how I started, because people see where I'm at now. Currently, I generate about 500K, about $500,000 per month in between my cash flow and investments and my businesses. We bring about $500,000. We're coming up on, probably by the end of this year, we'll hit about 600,000 per month. It keeps increasing because it's compounding now, okay? But it didn't start that way, guys. In 2020, just like many of you, I lost everything and it pissed me off. And that's where I drew a line in the sand. I became more committed to the pain of change and staying the same, and I completely rewired my brain. I realized that there's only debt in the system. You're getting paid in someone else's debt. Until you realize that, you'll never get out of this quadrant. You're getting paid in someone else's debt. So I started taking my income and I started creating cash flow. But at first, I had no income. They shut my business down next door with the pandemic. So I had no income. I didn't sit on my hands. I didn't bitch. I didn't complain. Okay, the first thing I did was I moved back in with my parents at 43 years old. I'm not embarrassed to say that. It was the best decision I ever made. And I asked them to give me 1 year, and that's exactly how long it took. So in that 1 year, I studied Cash Flow Quadrant, Richest Man in Babylon, and I worked my mother effing ass off to create income, turned it into cash flow. I bought assets, and then I repeated the process. So I'm going to share with you how you can do it starting right now. And I'm going to give you 4 ways you can do it, but I'm going to take it to the next step and share with you what you should be doing with that new income, because you're going to end up in the same system if you don't. Number 1 is budget. Simple. Now, I'll get you a get out of jail free card. I understand it's very expensive to live right now. So most people are not living mean and lean. That's the truth. People are overspending. You're going to Starbucks, you're going to Dutch, you're going to Chipotle, you're going to all these different places. You're spending all this money out. Eat beans and rice for 6 months. Okay, first thing is you start with a budget. Okay, that's the first thing. That will create some income or cash flow. The second thing you can do is get a sales job. Sales job is one of the greatest ways to wealth. I run 6 companies. 3 of my companies have sales attached to them, right? Salespeople do very, very well. Often the salespeople make more than the CEO. You can write your own paycheck. You don't have to pay the payroll. You don't have to stay up late at night. You don't have to come up with systems and processes. Sales jobs are one of the greatest ways to create cash flow, okay? Ask your boss for a raise. Don't be afraid to ask for a raise, okay? Or create a side hustle, right? You can do Uber, you could do, copy, email campaign, all kinds of different things. My point is you gotta create some sort of income. The first thing is a budget. That will create some income here, okay? If you can't go out and get a sales job, that's not your thing. You can't get a raise, okay? Maybe you can create a side hustle. But the first thing is a budget. So when you create a little bit of income, I don't even care if it's even $5. You can practice this, okay? This is what I did. Is I actually went and did the Gary Vay's flip strategy, and I started flipping things free on Facebook Marketplace. I bought a couch, I took it, I cleaned it up, and I sold it for $100. And guess what I did? I bought more cash flow and I bought assets. That's what changed the game for me. Is when you start to create cash, okay, a gap, you need to buy more cash flow. So how do we do that? Okay, so let's say we created a budget and we now are saving $10 a month. Okay, that's money you didn't have before, and now you have $10 a month. This $10 a month needs to be transmuted into something that's going to grow over time, okay, an asset, or maybe a dividend stock that pays you cash flow. Okay, so you take that $10 and that $10 might start earning $1. Okay, or you take that $10 and that $10 might turn into 30 over time with the asset and dividend, or you can split it into both of these. Okay, so here's what I did. Is as I started to make more money, income, okay, I took 10% of my income and I bought dividend stocks. Okay, think of Warren Buffett. He gets paid $1 million a day off Coca-Cola. Dividend stocks. Okay, stocks. Sorry, my spelling's bad, my dyslexia, okay? The rest of my income outside of debts and non-negotiables, okay, the rest of it went into assets and always goes into assets. This is very, very disciplined. I started with a little bit, and now it's getting bigger and bigger and bigger. That's why I can verify that we'll probably be over 600,000 because it's compounding. Money compounds every 7 years at 10%. We're not compounding money, it seems like every 90 days because I'm taking the income and I just keep buying more cash flow. I keep buying more assets, okay? So you take the 10%, you put it into a dividend stock, that's gonna create more cash flow. Okay, what do you do with the cash flow? You put it into assets that grow over time. So what we're doing is we're creating money, the $10. This $10 is a soldier. It has to go to work, Warren Buffett, okay? When the soldier goes to work, the $10 needs to go into some sort of savings, some sort of investment, or some sort of dividend that creates a brother or a sister, another dollar off the 10. Now this is another form of money. Then you do it again. Does that make sense? So the first thing is we got to figure out a way to make more money. The quickest way is a budget right away. You can do that tonight. You can absolutely do that tonight. You have 2 cars, go down to 1. Okay? You have insurance, go to all of your insurance people, every single insurance, and car insurance, ask for a discount. Okay? Go everything. Call your Cox Cable, call all your providers and see if you can create 10 bucks. I guarantee you can create a couple $100. You take the couple $100 into a dividend stock, you get paid cash on the dividend, and you buy assets. That's how you start, okay? Then what I did is I invented what's called capital DR, okay? Remember, I started with nothing, guys. Capital DR, lost everything. So I create cash flow, okay? I move my cash flow into assets that have fixed supply. I'm very open with you guys what I get. Things like Xrp, BTC. Those are 2 examples of fixed supply assets. Sorry, I put a P there. Okay. When I profit from these, I take the profit into protection. Cash value life insurance. So my principal is protected and it creates a family bank. And guess what? I can leverage at 5%. I can leverage. And what do? We richest man in Babylon it. What do we do with that leverage at 5%? We beat the hurdle rate and we buy more cash flow and we buy more assets. And then DR is de-risk, de-risk, de-risk. So number 1 is create a budget. Do it tonight. Call all your providers, see if you can get a discount and create that income and turn the income into cash flow. Turn the cash flow into assets. When the assets appreciate, turn the appreciation into protection. When you get the protection, use the leverage to buy more assets. That's richest man in Babylon. That's capital DR, and that's called a system, discipline, consistency, and compounding. And I promise you, if you start doing this and you just follow it, it's going to take some time, but you'll start to understand how to become financially free. Warriors, rise!